Hi everyone, this is once again your instructor, Marilyn Picot, and for this video, we'll be discussing about measurement and conversion, and this is for week number 3 of our discussion for chemistry lecture. Okay, so let's first start off with our objectives. So at the end of the session, students must be able to identify the base quantities and their respective units, differentiate base from derived quantities, and convert one unit to another using conversion factors. So basically for our discussion for today, I'll just be focusing on conversion. So again, just a few reminders before you begin watching this lecture video. Please make sure that you have your calculators ready with you and your pen and paper as well. And then also download the seat work that I have uploaded in Google Classroom. So makikita niyo siya as seatwork number 2. So paki-download lang po yun because later on you will be answering that after watching this video. Okay, so let's first start off with some recall, okay, nung mga ating mga system of units. So basically, ang ginagamit natin right now, the one that is widely used is the SI units, yung International System of Units na tinatawag. So here we have the 7 basic quantities. Okay, ang tawag natin dyan ay base quantities kasi ito yung pinaka-basehan ng lahat ng mga quantities kadalasan na pwede nating ma-encounter in our discussion in science. So what we have here would be for the length. Okay, so the length is the base quantity and ang unit na ginagamit natin dito is meter. Okay, so meter is like the para siyang yung British spelling. Okay, so but it's for English for American English we use meter with METER. And then you have the unit of M, okay, as the symbol. And then for mass we use kilogram, and then ang symbol natin ng kilogram is kg. Then for the time we use second, which is symbolized by the letter S. And then we also have the electric current. Okay, the electric current is in terms of ampere or in symbols as capital A. Etong ampere, mas madalas nyo itong may encounter halimbawa sa discussion sa physics. Same thing with the temperature. Ang temperature naman is measured in terms of Kelvin. Take note, hindi siya degree Celsius o degree Fahrenheit, kundi Kelvin po yung ginagamit natin for that. We will also be using this for chemistry. And then, ito yung sobrang pinakagamit sa chemistry, yung amount of substance, which is we measure in terms of the mole. Okay, and then the symbol that we use for that is MOL. And then for luminous intensity, we represent that with the unit of candela. And then ang kanyang symbol is CD. Etong luminous intensity, mas madalas itong nadi-discuss sa physics. So basically for chemistry, itong mga ma-encounter natin, yung length, yung mass, yung time, temperature, and the amount of substance. Okay, so just giving you a background of what the units are for the base units. For instance, here for the second, which is the unit for the time. So we know that the day is divided into 24 hours, each hour divided into 60 minutes, and each minute is divided into 60 seconds. So a second is basically 1 over 24 times 60 times 60 of the day. So historically, a day was defined as the mean solar day, so which is the average time between two successive occurrences of the local apparent solar noon. Okay, so yun yung pinaka-technical definition natin for the second. Now, in terms of the meter naman, which is the unit that we use for length, this is equivalent to 1 over 10 million, okay, of the distance from the Earth's equator to the North Pole measured on the meridian arc through Paris. Ayan. So, ito po yun. Ito yung sinasabi na meridian. Ayan. So, yung 1 over 10 million, yun po yung fraction na yun, that one represents our meter. And then kilogram, which is the unit for mass, we define this as the mass of 1 liter of water at the temperature of melting ice. Okay, melting ice. So a liter is 1,000th of a cubic meter. Then for the ampere naman, which is the unit for the electric current, so the original international ampere was defined electrochemically as the current required to deposit 1.1 118 milligrams of silver per second from a solution of silver nitrate. Ayan. So, yan po yung pinanggalingan yan, ng definition natin ng ampere. And then for Kelvin, which is the unit for the temperature, ang basehan usually ng Kelvin is the Celsius scale. Okay, so the Celsius scale, the Kelvin scale uses the degree Celsius for its unit increment, but it is a thermodynamic scale in which we say that 0 Kelvin is equivalent to absolute zero. But technically speaking, there is no such thing as absolute zero. Hindi pa na-achieve yan, yung temperature na yan. Kasi ang ibig sabihin yan, everything else will stop. Like for instance, the molecules, yung mga atoms. Kasi continuously moving yan eh. So, the moment na ma-achieve niyan yung 0 Kelvin, okay, so ang assumption dyan is titigil yung movement. Okay, but in this case, hindi possible or hindi pa na-achieve yung 0 Kelvin. Okay, so ang Kelvin mas ginagamit natin siya compared sa degree Celsius at degree Fahrenheit for measuring the temperature or for expressing the temperature, lalo na sa chemistry kasi ang degree Celsius at saka degree Fahrenheit, meron siyang negative values. Halimbawa, merong negative 10 degrees Celsius, merong negative 5 Fahrenheit, degrees Fahrenheit. Pero pag sa Kelvin, wala siyang negative value. Okay? That's why it's called an absolute. Okay? It's an absolute temperature. Sinabi natin kasing absolute, di ba? Wala tayong pinag-uusapan na positive or negative signs. Okay? And then the mole naman, on the other hand, which is the unit that we use for the amount of substance, this is equivalent to the atomic weight or molecular weight divided by the molar mass constant, which is expressed as 1 gram per mole. Okay, so ito, mas madidiscuss natin to in our future lessons wherein you will be calculating for the number of moles of a given substance. And then for the candela, which is the unit used for luminous intensity. So the candle power, which is based on the light emitted from a burning candle of standard properties. Okay, so kaya nga yung term niya is candela. Okay, kasi based siya dun sa intensity ng light coming from a candle. Now, when we speak of derived quantities, so kanina yung mga diniscuss ko, lahat yon ay base quantities. So pag sinabi nating derived quantities, these are quantities that are derived from mathematical formulas. So for example, for area, volume, pressure, and density. Okay, so eto, meron sila pinanggagalingan na mathematical formula. So what I have here would be examples of derived quantities. So for instance, itong area. Okay, so ang derived quantity natin ay area. Di ba, we can compute for the area as the length times the width. Okay, ito yung formula natin. So since ang length natin is measured in meter and then yung width natin is also measured in meter. So meter times meter gives you sa math, di ba, sa algebra, that is equivalent to m squared. Or in this case, ang tawag natin sa kanya ay square meter. Now, similarly sa volume, we know that the formula for the volume is equal to the length times the width times the height. Now, ano yung unit ng length natin? Ang unit ng length natin is also meter. Unit ng width natin is meter. And also with the height, meter din. So again, just like what we do in algebra, so pag minultiply natin to sa sarili niya, so that will give you m cube. Okay? Or in this case, ang tawag natin sa kanya is cubic meter. Okay, for that unit. So cubic meter is usually the unit that we use for expressing volume. Now, same thing goes with the density. So ang density naman, ang formula is mass over volume. So ma-encounter nyo to. I'm sure siguro na-encounter nyo to in one of our laboratory activities. Okay, so wherein you computed for the density. So ang density natin can be expressed in terms of gram per cubic centimeter. Now, bakit gram per cubic centimeter? Kasi yung mass mo is measured in grams and then yung volume mo is measured in cubic centimeters. Okay? So, remember, ang volume is parating cubic units. Okay? So, that's why here, we can express it as gram per cubic centimeter. Or in some cases naman, yung iba ginagamit is kilogram per cubic meter. Ayan, on a higher increment naman. Okay? Now, some examples of these units do have like what we call as parang special names o para siyang nickname. For instance, itong force. Ang force kasi, This one can be calculated by using the formula mass times the acceleration. So ang unit mo for mass is kilograms, and ang unit mo for acceleration is meter per second squared. Now, pag ito pinag-combine natin, instead na sasabihin natin na kilogram meter per second squared, so medyo mahaba siya, ang ginagawa dyan, binibigyan siya ng other name. So in this case, ang tawag natin sa unit na yan, nakatumbas ng kilogram meter per second squared is the Newton. Okay, so Newton. Yeah, so same thing with the Pascal. Ang Pascal naman is the special name for the unit Newton per square meter. Okay? So yan po. So more or less, nakikita nyo po yung ating pinagkaiba ng derived units from the base units or the derived quantities from the base quantities. So ulitin ko lang, pag base quantities, sila po yung pinakabasihan ng derived quantities. Now for the length, let's just put this into more defined term. So the length is the distance between two objects. Okay, so alam natin yan. So we make use of prefixes for units to make them larger or smaller. So ang kagandahan kasi sa metric system of units is that ginagamit natin dyan would be powers of 10. Okay, so for example, ito may example ng mga prefixes na ginagamit natin. Let's say yung centi. Yung prefix na centi, this is actually equivalent to 10 times raised to negative 2. Okay? So, para tong kunwari, pag sinabi mo na 10 centimeters, ang ibig sabihin niya, this is equal to 1 times 10 raised to negative 2 meters. Okay? So, itong C, ito yung pinaka-abbreviation ng centi. And then yung M, ito yung ating pinaka-base unit. Okay? Now, same thing with, let's say, ito naman, pag sinabi mong 5 kilograms. Okay. Ang abbreviation natin is for kilo. That's K, di ba? So, ito, ibig sabihin yan is 5 times, ano ba equivalent ng K? That is 10 raised to the third power or 10 cubed. So, this is 5 times 10 raised to the third power. And then, ang unit niya ay gram. Okay? So, it makes it much easier to use the powers of 10 for the conversion. Yeah, so kaya yan po yung major advantage na gumagamit tayo ng metric system. Kasi ang iisipin lang natin, parating powers of 10 lang. Unlike kasi pag ang mga English system, medyo mahirap siya kasi meron tayong iba-ibang factors o meron tayong iba-ibang mga numbers na kailangang i-memorize, okay, for our conversion. Okay? So, let's move on to volume. So itong volume, madalas din natin itong ma-encounter sa measurements natin in chemistry. So when we speak of volume, this is the space occupied by any sample of matter. So this is calculated for a solid by multiplying the length times width times height. Okay, so therefore, we can also say that the units of these three dimensions are also in the units of length. So ito nga po ating SI unit is the cubic meter. Okay, now, these are some of the devices that we use for measuring liquid volume. Okay, so although wala tayong face-to-face na lab, pero sa ating mga, sa ating practical exam, so definitely magiging kasama to. So make sure that you know how to perform laboratory activity number 1. Kasi doon gumamit kayo nito. Ito, graduated cylinder. Okay, so we have this graduated cylinder. We can use this for to measure the volume, ayan. And then we also have pipettes just like this one. Ito po yung pipette. Ayan, so pwede po natin yung gamitin. Usually meron po tayo dyan ginagamit na matawag doon? Yung para siyang para siyang suction pump. Ayan, so para yung fluid natin is umakyat dun sa pipette. Pero sometimes kahit wala, nung ginagawa lang natin is that kung nakikita niyo to, ginagawa niya. Yan. Parang open and close lang yan. Ibinababa, tinataas lang yung kamay, yung daliri. Ayan. So, para umangat yung ating liquid. And then we also have burettes. Okay. So, ito po yung burette. Okay. Ito medyo, para siyang malaking version ng pipette. Okay. So, mas mahaba kasi to. And usually, ginagamit to for titration. Although, hindi tayo gagawa ng titration kasi hindi naman tayo face-to-face. So, medyo challenging din gumamit niyan. But basically, we're also using this to measure the amount of our liquids. And then we also have volumetric flask. Ayan, katulad po nito. This one is an example of a volumetric flask. If you have larger amounts of liquids. And then we also have, of course, naman sa mga smaller amounts, we use syringes. Okay, just like this one. Okay? So, now let's remember that basically in chemistry ito, sobrang importanteng tandaan that the volume changes. Okay, nagbabago po ang volume. So the volumes of solid, liquid, or gas will generally increase with temperature. Ibig sabihin yan, kapag mas umiinit, yung volume natin, mas lumalaki siya, lumalaki yung value niya. Okay, so much more prominent ito sa mga gases. Okay, so habang mas mainit yung hangin, if you recall, di ba yung mga hot air balloons? Okay, bakit siya tinawag na hot air balloons? Kasi ang ginagawa natin doon para mapalobo yung malaking hot air balloon is that meron tayong pinapainit yung hangin. Okay, pinapainit yung hangin doon sa loob mismo ng balloon. Kasi ang nangyayari doon, nag-expand siya. Okay, so kapag nag-expand at kumilos ng mas mabilis yung mga molecules, doon ngayon siya nagkakaroon na tinatawag natin na expansion. Okay, or lumalaki siya. Same thing, for instance, kapag if you are heating your cooking ware, and, diba, pag nagluluto tayo, hindi lang natin masyado napapansin, pero yung mga kaldero natin or yung mga cooking wares na ginagamit natin, kapag yan po ay nainitan, dyan po ay nag-expand. Hindi nga lang siya sobrang obvious kasi syempre solid siya. Ang solid kasi, hindi masyadong obvious yung expansion sa solids. Okay? Pero sa liquids, very obvious din ang expansion. Halimbawa, sa in terms of, let's say, sa water. Okay, so kung mapapansin niyo yung water, di ba, kapag pinapakuluan yun, ano nangyayari? Para siyang, bumubulwak siya, di ba? Okay, nag-expand siya. Halimbawa, kapag nagsasaing kayo, o di ba, kapag uminit na yung tubig doon sa sinaing, ano nangyayari? It actually pushes up yung liquid natin mismo, bukod pa doon sa water vapor sa loob, it pushes yung pinaka-cover natin. Okay? Kaya, in that sense, napapansin din natin, di ba, yung parang pinaka-sabaw ng sinaing, di ba, umaahon siya doon sa lalagyan. It's because the liquid expands. Okay? Yung mismong water na ginamit natin, nag-expand kasi siya kasi nainitan po siya. Okay, so therefore, we have to make sure that measuring instruments are calibrated for a specific temperature, which is usually 20 degrees Celsius, which is about room temperature. Ang room temperature naman kasi natin is, it basically lies between 20 to 24 degrees Celsius. So, kung halimbawa mag-measure tayo ng volume ng liquids, hindi tayo nag-measure ng volume ng liquid kapag halimbawa mainit. Okay, so usually, pinapalamig muna natin yan. We have to make sure that it is at room temperature before we measure the volume. Kasi nga, nagkakaroon ka ng error because nag-expand yung ating liquid kapag mataas ang kanyang temperature. Now, for the units of mass, the mass is basically what we call as the measure of the unit of the matter present. Now, remember that this one is different from the weight. Okay? Kasi pag sinabi nating weight, kasi sa Tagalog, pag sinabi mong mass at saka weight, isa lang yun eh. Parang bigat lang siya eh, diba? Pero in terms of science, magkaiba po yung dalawang yun. Okay? Iba yung mass, iba yung weight. Pag sinabi nating mass, ito talaga yung, kumbaga, yung dami ng substance na meron ka. Pag sinabi nating weight, this is the force of gravity. Okay, this is actually a force that measures the pull of gravity, which is also changing with the direction. Okay, for instance, halimbawa, siguro napapansin nyo na kung nanonood kayo ng mga documentaries before, right, ng mga astronauts that are going to the moon before. Okay, so ano napapansin nyo doon sa movement nila? Di ba usually, parang bumabagal sila. Okay, parang hindi nakasayad yung paa nila agad-agad sa lupa. Okay, it's because mahina yung force of gravity doon. The force of gravity on the moon is much smaller compared to the force of gravity on Earth. Now, anong effect nun? Yung halimbawa, meron kang, let's say, astronaut who has a mass of 65 kilograms. So, yung mass ng astronaut, okay, dito sa Earth, 65 kilograms. Pagdating niya sa moon, ang mass niya, 65 kilograms pa rin. Kasi wala namang nabago sa kanya. So, katawan niya pa rin yun. Hindi naman nabawasan yung parts ng body niya. Okay? So, technically speaking, buo siya. So, Kung ano yung mass niya dito sa Earth, ganun din yung mass niya sa Moon. Pero pagdating sa weight, okay, ang weight ng tao dito sa Earth is equal to the mass times your acceleration due to gravity, which is 9.8 meters per second. O gawin na natin, ita-times 10 na lang natin para round off natin. So, kunwari, kung 65 kilograms ka dito, yung mass mo, yung weight mo dito on Earth is approximately 650 newtons. Okay, now the weight is measured in terms of the newtons. Now, pagdating mo sa Moon, yung weight mo, nag-iba na. Okay? Hindi na siya equal to 650 newtons. It's much lower na. Okay? Much lower. Siguro mga around 150 lang or around 200. Less than 200, ganyan. Bakit ganon? Kasi pagdating natin sa Moon, mas mababa yung acceleration due to gravity ng Moon kaysa sa Earth. Okay? Kaya yung weight niya is nag-iiba. Okay? In the same way, kahit hindi na tayo magpunta sa Moon, kahit dito na lang sa on Earth. Usually kapag nasa flight tayo, di ba, nasa aeroplano tayo, so mas malayo tayo dun sa center of the Earth, mas malayo tayo sa ground. Mas malayo ka sa ground, ang weight mo mas bumababa. Okay? So usually mga around ang difference in around 2 newtons. Okay, na mas magaang ka pag nasa ere ka in terms of the weight kumpara pag nandito ka sa sea level o nasa ground level ka. Pero yung mass mo, okay, hindi naman yon nagbago. So kung 60 kilograms ka dito, pagdating mo sa aeroplano, 60 kilograms ka pa rin. Okay? So yun po yung pinagkaiba ng dalawa. So we just have to be very strict kasi sa discussion natin ng chemistry, pati dun sa mga laboratory na gagawin natin, ang pag-uusapan lang natin parati is the mass. Okay? Hindi natin gagamitin yung term na weight. Kasi ang weight, this one is mas madalas itong may encounter sa physics eh. Ay, kasi sa physics, we discuss about forces. Pero pag sa chemistry, dito tayo mas concerned. Okay, we're always concerned about the mass. Okay, so ito po yung remember na hindi tayo gagamit ng term na weight, but instead we will use the term mass. Okay, so like what I've said, yun nga, mass is constant. This is regardless of your location. Now, how do we measure masses? Ayan, so ito na yung ating common na ginagamit, especially sa lab. Okay, ang ginagamit po natin dyan is a balance scale or dito sa lab, ang tawag dito is a triple beam balance. Okay, triple beam balance. Although wala tayong physical na lab, pero pagdating sa major exam natin, ipapa-exam ko sa inyo yan sa practical. Okay, so paano magbasa ng triple beam balance? So ginagawa lang po natin dyan, let's say, ito yung object mo. Okay, ilalagay mo siya dito. Make sure na nasa center siya at least ng platform. Okay, at saka stable siya. Now, ito, bababa yan. Okay, so definitely bababa siya kasi nalagyan mo siya ng weight. So, before nga pala, by the way, before you put your object here, make sure na itong mga to, tatlo kasi yung reading na makikita nyo dyan. Ito, pang tens. Ayan. Ito, pang hundreds. And then ito, yung ones values. Ayan. Okay. So, ganito siya. Make sure na lahat ito nandito sa zero. Okay. At ito rin naman ay naka-zero din. Dapat, meron kasi kayo makikita na guhit dito and then ito yung zero. So, make sure na nakatapat siya dun sa zero. Now, kapag hindi po siya nakatapat, okay, ang gagawin natin dyan, i-calibrate natin. Okay, i-calibrate natin ang inyong triple beam balance. So, ayusin natin. So, paano natin siya ayusin? Ito, meron po kayong makikita dito sa ilalim nito, meron po yung knob, okay, na ito-turn nyo siya, okay, hanggang sa magpantay ito. Okay, so ganun po yung pagka-calibrate. Okay? Now, ano mangyayari nito kapag naglagay tayo ng mass dito? So what will happen now is that, syempre ito bababa, and then ito tataas. Okay, tataas yung pinakaguhit, hindi na siya nakatapat sa zero. So ang gagawin natin ito, i-move natin to. Yan, so i-move, depende na sa inyo kung ano yung gusto yung i-move dyan. Ngayon, kung masyadong, let's say medyo magaang yung object nyo, kahit hindi nyo muna i-move to, yung hundreds, ang i-move nyo muna yung tens. Ngayon, pag ito, umabot na kayo ng 100 grams, pero hindi pa rin talaga umangat yung pinaka-indicator nyo, then that's the time na galawin nyo na tong hundreds. Okay. Now, paano pagbasa nito? Okay, so for example, nalagay mo na siya lahat sa zero. Okay na, no? Nabalansin mo na lahat. Ang gagawin mo ngayon, babasahin mo kung saan ito natapat. Okay, so kunwari ito ay natapat sa 50 and then ito ay natapat sa 300 and then ito ay sa 5. So ang basa ngayon dyan ay 355. In short, i-add mo lang lahat ng reading mo dun sa tatlong scales. Okay, so madali lang po siyang gamitin. And this one is, by the way, parati siyang nakagrams. Okay, so yan po yung ginagamit natin na unit kapag triple beam balance. So kapag sinabi, let's say, sa laboratory activity na express nyo yung answer nyo in terms of the kilogram, then yung grams nyo, i-convert nyo to into kilogram. Okay, which is something that we will discuss in a while. Now, for the temperature, so like what I've said, ang temperature po natin, by the way, is defined as the measure of how hot or how cold an object is. So, gaano ba kalamig o gaano ba kainit ang isang object. So, we call that as the temperature. Now, remember that the heat moves from the object of higher temperature to the object of lower temperature. Kasi kadalasan iniisip is, parang, ang heat kasi meron siyang movement na tinatawag. So, ang movement natin parate, galing siya sa body na mayroong mataas na temperature, papunta dun sa object na mayroong lower temperature. Okay, for example, kung mapapansin nyo, kapag nagtimpla kayo ng kape at nilagay nyo siya sa table nyo, at hindi nyo siya agad ininom. Okay? After siguro mga 20 minutes or 10 minutes, malamig na yung kape nyo. Okay? Malamig na siya. And ang nangyayari doon, kung dati siyang kumukulo, kung ang temperature niya, let's say, pag inahon mo siya, galing sa kumukulong tubig, okay, maybe around 90 or 100 degrees Celsius yun. Pagpalagay mo na lang 90 kasi medyo bumaba na eh. So, 90 degrees Celsius. Tapos, after a while, biglang ang nagiging temperature, ang lamig na, para ka nang minsan, lalo na pag naka-aircon ka, ang lamig-lamig na ng kape mo. Okay, so ano ibig sabihin nun? Yung heat coming from your cup of coffee, okay, it actually moves from doon sa coffee, okay, papunta doon sa ating environment. Okay, kasi yung environment po yung pinakalat sa yung kwarto mo, mas mababa yung temperature nun kumpara doon sa temperature ng coffee. So what happens now is that the heat coming from the coffee is actually transferred to the heat, it is transferred to your environment. Okay, so nag-transfer na yung heat doon sa kwarto mo. Okay, so mangyayari ngayon is that after some time, patuloy na gagalaw yung heat na yon hanggang sa magkaparehas na lang sila ng temperature. So pag parehas na sila ng temperature, ibig sabihin that is now what you call as thermal equilibrium. Okay, so ganun po nag-work ang temperature. So kung mapapansin nyo rin, di ba, kapag halimbawa meron taong nilalagnat, okay, ano ang una nating ginagawa para malaman kung may lagnat ba siya at wala kang dalang thermometer? So, ang ginagawa natin, di ba yung kamay natin o yung palad natin, pinapatong natin sa forehead nila, right? And then, dun mo agad ay, sobrang init mo. Okay, so may lagnat ka. Ganun lang naman dati, hindi naman uso dating thermometer eh. Pero, there's a danger to that. Kasi kung gagamitin mo yung kamay mo for too long, okay, for example, pag kinapa mo siya dito sa noo at masyadong nagtagal yung kamay mo, okay, eventually, ang mangyayari, yung heat coming from the person's forehead will be transferred to your hands until such time na parehas na ng temperature yung forehead niya at saka yung palad mo. So when that happens, hindi mo na ngayon masisense na kung mainit ba siya or malamig. Okay? Kasi parehas na kayo ng temperature. Okay? So kailangan, if you will just use your hands to determine whether a person has fever or not, dapat sandali lang. Okay? Sandali lang yung pagpat. Hindi yung ang tagal-tagal na kaganon ng kamay mo. Okay? Kasi hindi mo na madidistinguish kung talaga may lagnat siya or wala. Okay, so like what I've said, so the typical units of temperature that we use are Kelvin and Celsius. Pero for the sake of our discussion, so mas madalas natin magagamit ang Celsius. Ang Kelvin kasi, magagamit natin to kapag pinag-uusapan na natin yung calculations involving gas laws. Okay. Now, okay, so the Celsius scale can also be defined by two readily determined temperatures. So yung tinatawag na freezing point ng water, ito napaka-common nito. So dapat tandaan nyo ito parati. The freezing point of water is always at 0 degrees Celsius at ang boiling point niya of water is 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so now, take note that this one is for pure water. Kasi kapag ang water mo ay hindi pure, okay, for instance, yan ay let's say, salt water. Okay, yung tubig galing sa dagat. So, although tubig yon, ang tubig dagat, hindi siya magbo-boil at exactly 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, actually, mas mataas siya sa 100 degrees Celsius. Bakit? Kasi it's not pure water. may kahalo siyang salt, may kahalo siyang mga mineral. So, ang tendency niya is that yung boiling point niya mas lalong tumataas. So, mas impure o mas hindi pure yung iyong object or yung substance, ano siya, mas mataas ang kanyang boiling point. Okay, so like what I've said, the Kelvin scale does not use a degree sign, but it is just represented by K. Ayan. So yung nga pala, ang Kelvin scale, hindi natin siya dinalagyan ng degrees. Okay, so just K lang. Okay, walang degree. Hindi katulad ng degree Celsius at saka degree Kelvin. I mean, degree Celsius at saka degree Fahrenheit. Meron siya nitong symbol na to. Sa Kelvin, wala po tayo nun. So we say that the absolute zero is at 0 Kelvin. And to convert your Kelvin, to convert your degree Celsius to Kelvin, ang ginagawa lang natin is that we just add 273 to your Celsius reading. So for example, kung ang reading mo, let's say, ang temperature, let's say, ng room ay 20 degrees Celsius, gusto mong malaman kung ilan to sa Kelvin. So add mo lang siya sa 273. And that one is equivalent to 293 Kelvin. Ulitin ko, walang degree. Kasi hindi natin ginagamitan ng degree ang Kelvin. Now, itong energy, mag-encounter din natin to dun sa, I think this is for laboratory number, if I'm not mistaken, number 4 or number 3 or number 4. Okay? So, may encounter yun itong energy. Now, the energy is the capacity to do work or to produce heat. So, this one can be measured. And the two common units that we use are the joule, which is the SI unit of energy named after James Prescott Joule, and the calorie. Okay, ang calorie naman or yung cal is the heat needed to raise 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. Okay, so yun yung definition natin ng calorie. Ito yung same calories na pinag-uusapan natin pagdating sa pagkain. So pag halimbawa, sinabi natin na kumain tayo, let's say, na a boiled egg, hard-boiled egg, that's like, I think that's around like 100 calories. Okay, so 100 calories yan. So, ibig sabihin nun, kapag kinain natin yung hard-boiled egg na yun, yung amount of energy na napoprovide niya sa katawan natin is equivalent to 100 calories. Okay? So, now, conversions between the joules and the calories can be carried out by using the following relationship. So, ito po yung conversion na ginagamit natin. For 1 calorie, that is equivalent to 4.18 joules. Or we can also say, sa iba naman kasi ginagamit kung gusto lang mas accurate yung sagot nila, ginagamit nila yung 1 calorie is equivalent to 4.184 joules. Okay? Pero mas madalas ito lang, yung 4.18. Okay? Now, for some conversion factors, paano ba tayo nagko-convert ng one unit to another? So, ang ginagawa natin siya, gumagamit tayo ng tinatawag na conversion factors. Now, you can think of the conversion factors as a ratio of equivalent measurements. Okay, ratio. Di ba pag sinabi nating ratio, para siyang fraction. Okay, meron tayong numerator, meron tayong denominator. Now, it starts with two things that are the same. Okay, so for example, yan, ang 1 meter is equivalent to 100 centimeters. Now, if we will write this as the equation, it can be like this. Ayan, 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So we can divide on each side of the equation to come up with two ways of writing the number 1. Okay, so ano po ibig sabihin nito? Itong conversion factor na to, pwede natin siya isulat sa fraction. Katulad na bagay ko kanina, di ba? It's a ratio. Now, we can write it like this. Pwede mo siyang isulat as 1m over 100 cm. Yan. So, 1m over 100 cm. Pwede mo rin siyang isulat ng ganito. 100 cm over 1m. Now, parehas tama yan. Okay, ang tanong, alin dyan yung gagamitin mo? Okay, so makikita nyo ngayon in the following examples na papakita ko sa inyo how to convert units using conversion factors. Kasi usually ang dilemma natin dyan is, kailan ba ako mag-multiply? Kailan ba ako magdi-divide kapag nagko-convert? Okay, so the good thing about using conversion factors is that hindi mo kailangang mag-isip kung kailan ka mag-multiply, kailan ka mag-divide. Okay, kasi based on the conversion factors, makikita mo na kung anong klaseng operation yung gagamitin mo. Okay, so let me give you an example. So for example here, I have a ruler that is 12 inches long. Diba? Ang isang ruler ay 12 inches long yan. Okay, so how long is it in centimeters? Now, dalawang tanong dito. Pinapa-convert siya sa atin into centimeters and then how long is it in meters? Okay, given tayo dito ng conversion factors na 1 inch is equivalent to 2.54 centimeters. And then you also have for 1 meter, you have 100 centimeters. Alright, so paano po natin itong isa-solve? Okay, so ganito muna. Okay, first thing na gagawin nyo is that you need to identify your conversion factors. Kung hindi po siya given sa problem, then you have to look for references. Okay? So ito naman ay given as a problem, so wala na tayong problema. So magsisimula muna tayo sa pagsusulat ng ating given. So ano bang given natin? Ang given natin ay 12 inches. Okay, so let's put that here. 12 inches. Okay. Ang tatandaan nyo kapag nagko-convert kayo, ang operation lang na gagamitin nyo for the equation is always multiplication. Okay, always multiplication lang yan. So ito, gawin nating times. Okay. Saan ko siya ita-times? Ita-times ko siya sa aking conversion factor. Okay. Now remember, ang gusto natin gawin, yung inches, gagawin natin siyang centimeter. At yung inches, gagawin natin siyang meter. Doon muna tayo sa first one. Okay, inches to centimeters. Okay. So, ito, anong gagamitin natin dito sa dalawa? So, we will use this first conversion factor. Alright. So, ito, multiply ko siya sa ating ratio. Okay, yung pinakita ko kanina. Now, dito sa conversion factor natin, alin dyan ang ilalagay ko sa numerator? Alin ang ilalagay ko sa denominator? Okay, so, ganito lang yan. Kung ano yung unit na gusto mong makancel, yun ang unit na ilalagay mo sa denominator. Kung anong unit yung gusto mong matira, yun ang ilalagay mo sa numerator. Okay, so for example, here, etong 1 inch, dito ko siya ilalagay sa denominator. Why? Kasi siya yung gusto kong makancel. And then itong 2.54 centimeters, kasi ito yung hinahabol ko na unit, yung centimeter, di ba? So dapat siya yung hindi makakancel. So dapat nandun siya sa numerator. Now, what happens now? Diba sa math, kapag meron kang one number in the numerator and the other number is in the denominator, ang sagot dyan is always equivalent to 1. Diba? Parang 10 over 10, that's equal to 1. Ang 1 million over 1 million, that's equivalent to 1. And same thing here. So meron kang inch sa numerator, meron kang inch sa denominator. So now, it means it's just 1. Diba? So ano matitirang unit mo? You have centimeters. Yeah. So paano nga napagbasa nito? It will be like this. So 12, okay, times 2.54 and then meron kang pinaka-numbered line dyan. So divided by 1. Okay, kasi 1 yung natira dito eh. Now in this case, actually, it doesn't really matter kung sama pa natin yung 1. Kasi remember, 1 is a special number. So, pag nag-divide ka ng kahit anong number sa kanya, it would just still be equal to that same number. Okay, so walang mababago. So, pwede na lang siyang as simple as ganito lang. 12 times 2.54. Okay, so now if we will use our calculator for that, let me just get mine. So, this is 12 times 2.54. Okay, so what I got here is 30.48. Yeah, 30.48. So kung round off po natin to, this is in like 1 decimal place, so that's 30.5. Okay, approximately 30.5 centimeters. Yan. Okay. Now, we want to convert this naman into meters. Okay, so let's go back here. So meron tayong 12 inches. Okay, times. Okay, now, dito, kung gagamitin natin agad yung second, if you notice, walang inch dito. Okay, walang inch dyan. So, hindi natin yan pwedeng agad-agad gamitin. So, anong gagamitin natin? Pwede natin gamitin itong una. Okay? Yung 1 inch, ilalagay ko rito sa denominator. And then, yung 2.54 centimeters, ilalagay ko sa taas. Okay, now next. What happens now? Ito makakancel. So, kailangan ko pa ng another conversion factor na this time, i-change ko ang centimeter into meter. So, now I have 2.54 centimeters. So, kung gagamitin ko tong second conversion factor, etong 1 meter, ilalagay ko siya sa taas kasi ayoko siyang makancel. Pero itong 100 centimeters, etong ilalagay ko sa baba. Kasi siyang gusto kong i-cancel. So now, makakansel sa centimeters. Okay, so this is now what my equation looks like. Okay, dito ko lang sulat sa baba para mas maganda. So this is 12 times 2.54. Okay, times 1. Kahit hindi nyo nilagay yung times 1, okay lang. Kasi remember, 1 is, again, is a special number. So kahit i-multiply mo siya sa kahit anong number, hindi naman mababago yung value ng number na yon. And then, ito, nasa baba yung 100. So itong whole thing, i-divide po natin siya sa 100. Okay? So if you will use your calculator for this one, it's just parang karugtungan lang siya nito yung sa una. This one will be equivalent to 0.3048. O kung round off natin, let's say 2 decimal places. So this is around 0.30 meters. Yan. Okay? Now, yung pag-round off, wag po kayo mag-worry dyan. So, kung wala namang sinabi dun sa problem po, hanggang ilang decimal places nyo siya i-round off, usually ang practice is that you just round it off to like 2 decimal places. 1 to 2 decimal places, okay? Kung kailangan talaga mag-round off. Bihira tayo mag-round off into whole number. Okay, so gagamitin nyo either 1 decimal point or 2 decimals. Now, unless sabihin sa problem. Pag sinabi sa problem na you have to express it in 2 decimal places, then you follow that. Okay? Pero kung walang sinasabi, so you can use either like 1 or 2. Okay, now let's have another example. So a race is 10 kilometers long or 10.0 kilometers long. How far is this in miles if we know that 1 mile is equal to 1,760 yards and that 1 meter is equivalent to 1.094 yards? Okay, so given ka rito ng dalawang conversion factor. And then meron pang isa, yung 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. Okay, so meron kang given na tatlo. So, again, just like what we did earlier, so magsisimula tayo dun sa given natin. So ang gusto natin mangyari is kilometer to miles. Okay. So here you have 10 kilometers. Multiply natin siya sa first conversion factor. Okay. Gusto kong unang-unang matanggal si kilometer. So ito ang unang-una kong gagamitin. Okay. So lagyan natin yung 1 km dito sa baba. And then yung 1,000 meters, yan dito sa taas. So nangyari, cancel na si kilometers. Ang natira ay meter. Gusto kong tanggalin si meter. So magagamit ko ito, yung second one. Yan. So 1 meter, ilalagay ko sa baba. And then yung 1.094 yards dito sa numerator. Okay, so makakancel si meter. Naiwan si yards. Okay. Pero gusto ko ay miles. So gagamitin ko na ngayon yung last. Okay, this time, I will put 1,760 yards in the denominator and then yung 1 mile dito sa numerator kasi gusto kong maiwan si mile. So kailangan siya yung nasa numerator. So again, yung unit ng yard, makakancel. Okay, so ano lang ang itsura ng ating equation? So we have here 10 and then times. Oh, yan. This one is 1,000. Yan. Times natin siya sa 1.094. And then the whole thing, okay, this one will be divided by this. 1,760. Okay, so ano ngayon ang naiwan na unit? This one now will be in miles. Okay, so let's use our calculator for that. Okay, so pwede nyo pong gamitin yung mga calculator sa cellphone nyo kung meron naman kayong scientific function. So, kere lang yan. So, we have 10 times 1,000 times 1.094. Press nyo muna yung equals ha, before po kayo mag-divide. So, divided by 1,760. Okay, so what I got here is 6 point. I-round off ko na lang to 2 decimal places. So, this is 6.22. Okay, this one now is in miles. Ayan. Okay? So again, kung mapapansin nyo, isa lang yung rule na ginawa natin. Kung ano yung unit na gusto nating ma-retain, ilalagay natin sa taas. Kung ano yung unit na gusto nating ma-cancel, yun ang ilalagay natin sa denominator. Okay? Now, let's have example number 3. Now, the density of manganese, which is a metallic element, is 7.21 grams per cubic centimeter. So, what is the density of manganese in kilogram per cubic meter? Okay. So, dito wala tayong given, okay, na conversion factor. Okay, so pwede natin gawin is that it will be actually helpful kung kabisado nyo ng konti, no? Yung mga super basic naman. Pero if you're not so confident, so you can always search the net for the conversion factors. Alright, so ang gusto natin gawin is gram per cubic centimeter. Okay. So ano yung pinaka-basic na alam natin? Pwede natin gamitin ang 1 kilogram. Remember the word kilo, it means 1,000. So this one is equal to 1,000 grams. Yan. And then we know that 1 meter, okay, this one is equivalent to 100 centimeters. Kaya lang, dito sa ating given, sabi, cubic centimeter. So, anong gagawin natin dito? Gagawin lang natin dito is we will get the cube of both sides of the equation. So, gagawin natin 1 meter cube. Ganun din yung 100 cm cube. Now, kapag ito sinimplify nyo, we know that 1 cube is equal to 1. Ito, magiging 1 cubic meter na. Remember, is idadamay nyo rin yung unit. Okay, doon sa i-up nyo na, na exponent. Okay? So, this is 100 cube. So, 100 times 100 times 100. This one will give us 1 million. This is 1 million cubic centimeters. Yeah, so ito na po ngayon yung dalawang magagamit natin. Okay, so again, start po tayo sa given. 7.21. Now, if you notice, ito, isusulat ko siya as fraction. Okay, kasi di ba dito sa given, naka-slash lang siya. Okay, pero this time, I will use na naka-fraction siya. Okay, bakit ganon? Kasi ginagawa ko to para madali kong makita kung anong units na makakancel ko. Kasi kapag nakaganyan to siya na isusulat ninyo, mamimislead kayo doon sa cancellation. Okay, so make sure na kapag may mga nakaslash na ganyan, isusulat nyo siya as a fraction. Okay, so multiply natin to sa ating first conversion factor. So I will use this one first. So ang kilogram, ilalagay ko sa taas kasi gusto ko ito yung final unit ko. And then yung 1,000 grams, ilalagay ko rito sa baba. So mangyayari ngayon, makakancel si grams. Okay? Now, let's multiply this to, okay, next one. Ito yung second conversion factor ko. So, again, si 1 cubic meter ilalagay ko sa taas kasi gusto ko siyang, ilalagay ko ito sa, okay, in this case po, magkakaroon na tayo ngayon ng changes. Okay. Ito, yung mga bihira na nangyayari. Pero this is where nyo matetest yung understanding nyo na dapat pagdating ng cancellation, yung isa nasa baba, isa nasa taas. Okay, so, dito naman kasi, yung cubic centimeters nyo ay nasa baba. Okay, so, para makancel siya, ano kailangan nyo gawin? Dapat ilagay nyo to, yung 1 million cubic centimeters dito sa taas. Ayan, para makancel siya. And then, ito, yung 1 cubic meter, ilalagay po natin sa baba. Okay, so as you can see, cancel na si cubic centimeters. There you go. Okay? So now, ano magiging itsura ng equation natin? Magiging 7.21. Hindi ko nasasama yung 1 ha. Diretso na ako dito sa 1 million. Times 1 million. Yan. Divided by this one which is 1,000. Okay. So pag ito, ginamitan niyo po ito sa calculator, this one is equivalent to 7,210. Okay. The final unit now will be in kilogram per cubic meter. Ayan. So this time, pwede mo na siyang isulat as naka-slash siya. Ayan. Okay? So ulitin ko lang ha, kapag merong ganito na units na naka-slash, make sure na isusulat nyo siya as a fraction. Okay? So para madali nyo makita kung ano yung units na makakancel ninyo. Okay, now, next one. Let's have the next example. So this time naman, gagamitin na natin yung concept ng conversion in the context of health sciences, okay, or in the terms of medicines. Okay, so here you have example number 4. So Sam gave the mother of a sick child a 16 fluid ounce bottle of liquid medication and told her the child should take 30 ml twice a day. So how many days will the bottle of medication last? So take note that 1 fluid ounce is equivalent to 30 ml. Yan. Okay, so medyo challenging, ano? So, in this case, um, gagamitin natin to ng conversion factors. Okay, now, ang unang given dyan is that yung bottle natin, okay, the bottle of medicine contains 16 ounces of fluid ounce. So let me just erase this one here. Okay, FLOZ. Okay, this is fluid ounce. Okay. Now, ang sabi dyan, the child should take, ito yung dosage niya. So, ang kanyang dosage ay 30 ml. Okay, this is twice a day. Okay, times 2. Lagay ko na ha, per day. Yan. Okay. Now, here, anong sinasabi dito? So, ibig sabihin, sa isang araw, ang tinatanong kasi dito is, how many days will the bottle of medication last? Okay, so gaano katagal ang itatagal niya? Okay, so given these factors. Okay, now, we know that ang pwede natin gawin dito is that i-compute muna natin ilan ba yung ml, ilang ml ng gamot yung kailangan ng ating patient per day. Okay, so here we know that since twice a day siya, so 30 times 2 will give us 60. Sabihin 60 ml per day. Ayan, lagay ko na lang slash. Ayan, per day ang kailangan ng pasyente. Okay. Now, ang given sa'yo ay fluid ounce. Okay, fluid ounce. So, kailangan yung fluid ounce natin, i-convert muna natin siya into ml. So, let's see. For that purpose, pwede natin gamitin itong ating given na conversion factor. Okay, so I'll start with that. So, 16 fluid ounce. Yan. Then, ito yung multiply ko sa, okay, si 1 fluid ounce ilalagay ko rito sa baba kasi gusto ko po siyang makancel. And then si 30 ml ilalagay ko rito sa taas. Okay, so now this one now will be canceled, yung fluid ounce. Okay, so now you have 16 times 30. So this is 16 times 30 ml. Yan, so this one now is using our calculator, 16 times 30. That will give us, ayan, 480 ml. Okay. Yan. Yan yung total na laman ng isang bottle. Okay, now the question is how many days? Kaya ang kailangan natin or ilang days ang itatagal niya. Okay, so here's the magic of this one. So ito, di ba parang sinulat ko na siya in terms of a unit. Okay, so ang gagawin ko na lang itong 480 ml. Okay, pwede ko siyang i-multiply dito. Ayan, so 60 ml per day. Na in this case naman, yung 60 ml ilalagay ko sa baba. And then yung day dito, lalagay ko is 1. Kasi 'di ba for 1 day, you have 60 ml. Okay, so what do you notice? 'Di ba makakancel yung unit ng ml? May iwan na lang sa akin is the day. Okay, so if we will be using our calculator, so that's 480 divided by 60, that's equivalent to 8. Yeah, so this is now 8 days. Ayan. Okay? Pwede rin naman na ganito. Okay? Pwede rin naman ang gawin nyo is that since given ka na ng total, di ba, meron ka ng total na 480 ml. Okay? And you know na per day ang kailangan mo ay 60. Okay? So, pwede mong gawin dyan is yung 480 ml, i-divide mo lang siya sa 60 ml. So, makakancel to. So, maiwan ka dito ng 8. So, sabihin, meron kang 8 days. 8 days yung itatagal ng ating gamot. Okay? Kasi kung yung 480 mo, kung yung 60 mo pala is per day, at yun ang gagamitin mong pang-divide dun sa 480. Right? Now, let's have another example. Okay, the clinic uses about 15 liters and 500 ml of disinfectant cleaner each month. Now, after taking inventory, Sam found that there was 32.5 liters of disinfectant cleaner in the supply cabinet. So how many liters of disinfectant cleaner would Sam order so that the clinic will have a 6-month supply? Alright, so analyze po natin. Now, ano yung usage natin sa ating clinic per month? Okay, so per month, okay, ang ating usage ay, ang sabi dyan, you have 15 liters. And, so 15 liters, capital L yan for the liters, plus, okay, 500 ml of the disinfectant. Magkaiba to ng unit. 1 liter, 1 milliliter. Okay, so ang gagawin natin dyan is kailangan isang unit lang yung gagamitin natin. Okay, so for this purpose, ang i-convert po natin dyan is itong 500 ml. Okay, so yung 500 ml, i-convert po natin to sa liters. Okay, now we know that for 1 liter, you have 1,000 ml. Okay, so this time, yung multiply ko to sa yung 1,000 ml, ilalagay ko rito sa baba. And then yung aking 1 liter ilalagay ko sa taas. So makakancel itong si ml. So you now have 500 divided by 1,000, which gives you 0.5 liters. Okay, so therefore, per month, okay, ang ating consumption ay 15.5 liters. Okay. Now, ang hinihingi dito is that kailangan kayo magkaroon ng supply for 6 months. Okay, so therefore, for the period of 6 months, ilan ang kailangan natin? So ito lang yun, yung 15.5 liters. Times po natin siya sa 6. Okay, so what do we have here? Okay, so 15.5 in the calculator times 6. Okay, so this gives me 93 liters. Okay, so 93 liters dapat yung ating stock for the next 6 months. Okay. So what will happen now? Ang sabi dito, meron tayong nakita na 32.5 liters of disinfectant cleaner in the supply cabinet. So, ilan na lang, ang tinatanong is ilang liters na lang yung kailangan i-orderin ni Sam, okay, para mapunan yung 6-month na supply. Okay, so therefore, to determine that, you just have to subtract. Okay, so ito yung kailangan natin eh. Pero ito yung meron na tayo. So, 32.5 liters. Okay, so how many is that? So, you have 93 minus 32.5. Okay, so this one will give us 60.5 liters. So therefore, this one now is your final answer. Okay? So ayan po. So as you can see, no, kapag meron tayong dalawang magkaibang units, okay, and then kailangan natin siyang i-add, make sure na yung isa is i-convert nyo into another unit. Okay? So in short, kailangan iisa lang yung kanila pong unit. Okay? So, kung mapapansin po ninyo, yung etong conversion, talagang sobrang gamit na gamit natin siya. Okay, so lalo na kapag nagme-measure tayo ng mga supplies, o kaya nagde-determine tayo, halimbawa, if you will go on a medical mission. Okay, so kung ilan ang kailangan nyo na dali na supplies with you, considering na you have a certain number of people that you want to serve. Okay, so yan po. So with this, it's now time for you to work on seat work number 2. So that's just 5 items. So I'm sure kaya-kaya nyo po yung gawin. And then I have also posted the homework, your second homework for this session. So please make sure na you will write your answers on a clean sheet of paper. So para to be safe na lang din, isulat nyo na lang din yung pangalan nyo po dun sa papel po nyo. And then submit the scan copy or a photo of your solutions. Meron po tayong submission link na provided po. Alright? So, with that everyone, if ever na medyo nalilito pa po tayo sa conversion of units, pwede naman natin balikan yung video so that we will be able to review. Okay, so yung mga main points po dun sa conversion. But I'm sure with all these 5 examples that I have given you, kaya-kaya nyo na po sagutan yung seat work natin and yung homework natin for this week. Alright? So with that, guys, thank you so much for joining me in this video. If ever meron po tayong mga questions or clarifications, you can just send me questions over our Viber group. Alright? So, bye everyone, and I hope that you'll be able to do this easily. And just feel free to reach out to me if ever you do encounter some problems during this, during your studies for the conversion of units. Okay, so bye everyone, and I'll see you on the next lecture video.